Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try to focus, your mind just won't stay still? Like you sit down to work, to study, to do something important, and suddenly you're checking your phone, scrolling through social media, or thinking about something completely different? If that sounds familiar, then listen closely, because this story might just change the way you look at your own mind. Once, in a quiet countryside town, there lived a young boy named Ethan. He was smart, curious, and full of energy, but he had one big problem. He couldn't focus. His mind jumped from one thought to another like a restless bird. Whenever he tried to study, he'd start thinking about his phone. When he tried to do his homework, he'd get distracted by a game or a video. Even when he wanted to pay attention, he just couldn't. His father often told him, "Son, your mind is like a wild horse. If you don't learn to control it, it'll take you anywhere except where you want to go. But if you train it, it'll carry you to any dream you chase." Ethan would smile, nod, and forget all about it the next day. Time passed, but nothing changed. His teachers saw his potential. His friends laughed about how easily he got distracted. And deep down, Ethan knew they were right. He wanted to change but didn't know where to start. One afternoon, his father took him to meet an old wise teacher named Mr. Rowan, who lived just outside the town. Mr. Rowan was known for helping young people find focus, strength, and success. When they arrived, Ethan's father explained everything: his son's lack of focus, his distractions, his struggles. Mr. Rowan listened quietly, then smiled and said, "So, you want to learn how to focus?" Ethan nodded. The old man handed him a small glass of water filled to the very top and said, "I want you to walk around my garden without spilling a single drop." Ethan thought it sounded simple. He smiled and began walking carefully through the garden. But as he walked, he heard birds chirping, wind moving through the trees, and children laughing nearby. Each time he looked around, a few drops spilled from the glass. By the time he returned, half of it was gone. Mr. Rowan looked at him and asked, "Why did you spill so much?" Ethan shrugged. "I got distracted." Mr. Rowan smiled gently and said, "This glass is like your goal, and the water inside it is your focus. Every sound, every distraction around you is the noise of life. If you don't learn to control your attention, you'll lose your purpose before you even realize it." Something clicked in Ethan's mind that day. For the first time, he understood what his father had been trying to tell him. From that day forward, Ethan decided to change, not by making big promises, but through small, daily steps. He started waking up at the same time every morning. He stopped using his phone during study hours. When he worked, he worked. No multitasking, no music, no notifications. At first, it was hard. His mind kept wandering. But every time it drifted away, he gently pulled it back to the task in front of him. Slowly, he started practicing meditation for 5 minutes each morning, learning to breathe deeply and stay still. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. And slowly, something inside him began to shift. His thoughts became clearer. His memory improved. His grades went up. He stopped feeling anxious all the time. People began to notice. His friends said, "You're different now, you actually finish things." Ethan would just smile, because he knew what had changed. He was learning to master his mind. A year later, a big national competition was announced. It was a test of intelligence, and focus students had to solve complex problems within a short time. Ethan decided to join. On the day of the event, hundreds of students filled the hall. The air was tense. Some panicked, some gave up halfway, but Ethan stayed calm. He remembered Mr. Rowan's words. He focused on one question at a time, just like holding that glass of water. He didn't rush, he didn't look around, he just focused. When the results came, Ethan's name was at the very top. He had won. His father's eyes filled with pride. Mr. Rowan smiled and said, "You didn't just win the competition, Ethan, you won your mind." That day, Ethan learned something powerful. A disciplined mind is stronger than talent, stronger than luck, and stronger than intelligence. Because once you learn to focus, you can do anything. And that's the lesson for all of us. Maybe you've felt like Ethan before, full of dreams, full of plans, but always distracted, always starting things and never finishing them. The truth is, focus is not something you're born with, it's something you train. Start small. Wake up at the same time every day. Do one thing at a time. When you work, really work. When you rest, really rest. Give yourself 5 quiet minutes each morning to just breathe, and you'll start to notice how your mind begins to listen to you instead of running wild. One day, you'll look back and realize the strongest version of you was always there, waiting for you to take control. So if this story inspired even a small spark inside you, don't let it fade away. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so we can keep walking together on this journey of growth, calm, and strength. Remember, your next chapter of success doesn't begin tomorrow or someday in the future. It begins the moment you decide to discipline your mind. Start today.